This is the Studio Shangri-La podcast, and welcome back to this new episode. Today's episode is called Philosophy, Evolution, and Culture. Living a Timeless Existence. And as I'm recording this, it's Martin Luther King Day. And in some ways, he was a radical. There will always be ideas that come along that are considered somewhat radical. Yet this is what's necessary to keep actively expanding our awareness and consciousness in order to keep growing. Progressive ideas, even those that are radically good or outlandishly good, might be met with some resistance by, quite frankly, those who perhaps haven't come as far along and aren't as open-minded. Today's radical idea is this: that a system of beliefs or philosophy can have tremendous influence over how we live our lives, and whether we keep living them or not. Now, for a long time, death has been accepted as an inevitability. However, as I pointed out before, we see exceptions to the rule in nature and different organisms breaking these boundaries. The awareness exists now within humanity that there are other possibilities for life. And through science and technology, we have come to realize this, that there are other dimensions or realms to learn about and to exist in or be influenced by. I wrote on time perception and the notion of time in a previous article, which I recorded for this podcast, and pointed out that there are different systems of measure throughout the universe depending on one's frame of reference. And what if you remove all the frames of reference and take everything into account? What then? Well, the doors of possibility or perception, yes, open wide. I have to admit it's difficult for me now to accept something like death as an inevitability because I know too much. I've already gone past the point of learning about enough scientific and technological breakthroughs that I know now it's not necessarily an inevitability. And I've done enough spiritual searching to realize that it is not necessarily an inevitability. There was a headline a while back from Immortalist magazine, a magazine I wrote for some time ago. And the headline or article title was this: that Jesus was the first transhumanist. Well, of course, he met with some resistance on that, and I guess the manner of presentation can be debated. I wasn't there, of course, but the concept that one can transcend death was, and obviously was, quite radical at the time. And now, the topic is present, very present today, that one can transcend death by choosing to keep living, and by doing so through various means. One can put therapies into use from ancient to modern. An ancient example being through spiritual study and meditation, through one's personal quest to wake up to the meaning of one's life, and to wake up to one's inner life and workings. And a modern therapeutic example being the use of technologies such as light or sound or electrotherapy or cellular replacement therapy, genetics. Cellular replacement therapy has quite recently been put into actual practice. In other words, stem cell therapy. And using one's own cells. And in an ethical way. At the moment, cellular replacement therapy is rather expensive. But as we know, as things become more common and available, the price goes down. What matters is the innovations are happening. While one is waiting for them to take hold, it's important to take good care of oneself. And if open-ended life is your goal, to love your life and learn more about living it well or being truly present, and retooling your beliefs, changing the language that you speak about life, retooling beliefs and language, that's huge. And then also embracing the best technological breakthroughs or therapeutic breakthroughs that come along. A lot can be achieved by going back to nature. By going simply when it comes to materials. And this I've talked a great deal about before. By choosing options that are known to be nourishing. And on making these choices for oneself, you have to love yourself and your life. Above all else, recognizing one's intrinsic value. That is one's birthright that is given to you. And the ongoing process of awakening awareness is the path of evolution that can lead to unending life. The path of wanting to continue to learn and grow. Living a timeless existence is more existing in a newly coalesced quantum realm. That is, in a way, in stasis, unaffected by situational cycles and systems that were defined generations before us. They're defined by our particular location in the cosmos. But if we were to depart, the relationships of the stars and planets around us would change. The system of time that we have here on Earth would no longer apply. So, if you will, take a trip in your mind. Of course, the system of time is useful in getting where we need to go and meeting up, in making schedules, in following the rhythm of the sun to rest and regenerate. However, such cycles don't necessarily have to define whether one stays alive or not. I've referenced this in recent episodes, that perhaps we've reached an evolutionary point, and it certainly seems so to me. Otherwise, why would I even be saying this? At an evolutionary point at which you realize that transformations and evolutions can deliberately occur in the same life cycle or lifetime. A lifetime. And that one can go through cycles without dying. Of course, it's a personal choice, and we see that different organisms make different choices. It's still a bit of a radical lean, what I'm saying. But again, if you pay attention to science and technology, the latest and breaking news, you realize it's very real. So, a great point I have here is that you can prepare yourself mentally, emotionally, and go ahead and start living in that timeless existence. There's no urgency. Well, perhaps unless you're just excited to get something done, but it's not a do or die sort of urgency. What this is no less than reprogramming one's consciousness. And there's a great buzzword for that: neuroplasticity. That we have the ability to actively change our minds and evolve, and even grow new neurons. What do we want to believe? We are active participants in our evolution. So, where does this neuroplasticity lead? What are the messages that we're sending our body systems and cells? How are we programming ourselves? And it's interesting to use these words now in conjunction with human development. These words have come into play because of computer technologies. How do we want to program ourselves? Meaning, deliberate thoughts and beliefs, and then acting accordingly. I make it sound easy. It is, in fact, a big shift. There's a lot of language in the culture that talks about death, and yeah, death has been accepted as a norm for quite some time now, and as an inevitability. But running counter to the same old narrative about life and death is a new narrative. There's a new era narrative that's entered the picture, and that is curing death. That is revitalizing and regenerating body systems, a living in an open-ended existence instead of a closed one. We can thank advanced technologies, in part, like AI, for helping us to open our minds to possibility. So if I'm living a timeless existence, I'm going to have to tune out some of the rhetoric that's still floating around the culture. The fight or flight flavored rhetoric, if you will. The catchphrases like life is short or anything about dying young. What is it? Living fast and dying young. Actually, I think what works well is embracing periods of dormancy in order to regenerate and prolong life. And that's a lesson from nature. Making use of rest and dormancy. The healing power of sleep, for example, and its regenerative, oh so valuable regenerative capacity. So I'm tuning out all this urgency rhetoric. It doesn't mean that I can't get things done that are important to me. It's just not do or die. It's just do, be, do, and rest as needed. What's incredible about the potentiality of an open-ended life cycle in which you keep evolving and keep transforming is that, in fact, it can be considered an evolutionary advantage. Because more progress can be made in that you don't have to start all over again, in a way, generation after generation. You don't have to keep repeating the same things. You keep learning and gathering wisdom, and it sticks. But where would all these people go? Well, you know where. There are plenty of exoplanets that have been identified. That is, in fact, the reality. There are other planets for us to expand to. Technologies, of course, are in the works. It's a very exciting landscape of aerospace companies. Living a timeless existence. Why not start now? When I can stay in that realm, personally, I find it a lot more enjoyable. And the more I learn, the more real it becomes. I don't have anything to lose, really. I'm just telling you my take on things here. I don't have anything to lose here and everything to gain, because what I gain is appreciation for life itself. And making every moment matter, not just any dramatic highs or lows, but every moment of life is valuable. Yeah, there's a lot to be inspired by. What's been learned and will be learned by quantum concepts. And does the evolution of physiology follow suit? I think it does. And this is one reason why in spirituality, connecting to one's inner self is important. The insides, the systems, the cells, the parts that make up our whole, to actively connect with them in purpose is very powerful. We've seen that remarkable changes can be made this way. There's a number of studies on meditation out now, for example, that shows it's all possible. It's one ancient practice coming into mass appreciation in modern times. Now it's a choice of narrative. Which narrative do you want to choose? Philosophy and beliefs are indeed important because they give us direction. We have too much conscious self-awareness now to not take advantage of this. And culture. We all take part in our personal evolution and the evolution of culture at large. Now, one could potentially get swept along by trends, and some trends are positive. And this is a growing trend that it could be possible to stop aging and to stop the degenerative process and embrace the regenerative process. One's mind has to be retooled to be in that state in order to affect the physiological upgrade. Yes, it is an upgrade. And we can upgrade ourselves now because we see the possibility of doing it. There's enough accumulated intelligence now for us to upgrade ourselves in our lifetime without the need for reproduction. Of course, reproduction still occurs. What's opening up are possibilities. Life and more life. That's what I see all around me. And I can't help but see a lot of open doors of exploration. Thanks for listening to Studio Shangri-La podcast. Philosophy, culture, and evolution. Living a timeless existence. If you'd like to learn more about Studio Shangri-La, please visit the website studioshangri-la.maison.